observe that if we want to shield the eyes and sensibilities of our friends and neighbors who have left us for 6 months from a harsh reality that we're in some fiscal difficulty here when we come back, I would respectfully suggest we spend $30,000 on plants, not on the planner. And I don't know what governmental services are available, but in many states, there's a county horticultural agency, county extension agency, and they provide a wealth of resources for free that we've already paid for in the taxes. I don't know that that's true in Florida, but in other states that's true. That might be a stopgap measure, spend it on green material as compared to gray matter, and you got $30,000 worth of plants, at least green the place up as a stopgap measure until which time as we can afford to maybe get to that gold standard that you referenced. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes. Hi, Paul.
I've been looking to save like 200 or 300 dead plants on my front porch for over 2 years now. Can we just get them removed? I mean, I could go and spend a day and fight half of them.
What street are you on, Paul?
Limestone.
You're on Limestone. Yeah, I talked about that earlier. Did you come in late?
Sorry?
Did you come in late to the meeting? I talked about Limestone.
I saw it, said a proposal was being done to take it out.
Yeah.
They can take it out in a day.
Yeah, well, some of them have pretty
2
deep
years.
roots.
No, I just wondered if they could just be removed.
Yeah, they're going to be removed.
I think they're going to replace them, they're going to replace them once they have.
Yeah, they're going to be removed. Okay, do we want to take the motion?
So for the landscape architect, I need a motion from the board to give authority to the landscape committee to start going out for interviews of landscape architects. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. The final portion of the board meeting is open discussion. I don't know what we haven't touched on yet, but by all means.
With respect to the Pulte litigation, has an estimate been made as to our costs of that litigation, including consultants? I mean, I'm assuming there's a ballpark number, a big one, and it hasn't been budgeted.
Basically, what we're doing is, should we give them options? We have two options with the ball and tag people. And one of them is to do it on a contingency basis, which means we don't have to pay any expenses. They get a large sum, basically 40% of the lawsuit. Or we can go half expenses, and then they get 20% of the 5 to 7. So we pretty much have agreed to do, we haven't passed it yet, we haven't signed any paper, but we're thinking more in the 20% range. But we'll pay part of the expenses. Expenses to date have been roughly, I think, 30, 35. So we're looking at big expenses coming up here. We feel it's our fiduciary duty to be able to address these issues. If we let this pass without a lawsuit, it could be tremendous cost on us. And believe me, we don't want to give too much out right now, but I can tell you this, we have done how many studies? We have so much right now in our matrix of what we're going to them to address. So
this is a suit for money, not a suit for performance.
exactly. Exactly. I mean, would we come back and say that they performed? Well, they didn't perform, but that's why we're trying to get money from them for what
Well,
they
then you're
left
not
us.
suing them to have them come out and fix anything. You're
Oh, no.
suing them to get a chunk
No.
of money.
Exactly. Yeah, last year, if you remember, we had holes in our riprap, and it exposed the underling. I went over that in last month's HOA meeting. What we've done now, last summer, Tomahawk was hired by Pulte. They covered up, they added rock to the high water level. So you could see, they didn't bother to replace the underlayment or do anything to where we could even test it. So they made it look nice, but they didn't solve the problem. And now we have to, we cannot go back, we don't know where the holes are exactly, to test the underlayment to see, because it's been exposed to UV light. And this underlayment is not made to be exposed and will eventually deteriorate. So we're into it's a big cost we're looking at just for the riprap.
And that won't be visible next month when the inspection occurs. It'll be underwater.
June 21st.
June 21st.
June 21st is when they'll be out here, but we have a lot of recorded, we have photographs and video and stuff, so I think we've got a pretty good case built on this.
Yeah, Volcanic has said they haven't really got to the, to dot the i's and cross the t's in terms of the money involved here, but they have said to us we have a very strong and substantial claim.
When they added the rock to the riprap, they actually created a greater problem because they actually added more weight, and as we've lost in this kind of drought that we're in now, the extra weight has caused some slippage in some of the underlayment. You can actually see where underlayment has folded. So it's probably, and none of this was done where the underlayment was ripped over, brought over the top of the bank. It was just laid on the bank. So, and it's at a 45 degree. It's a 1 to 2, 1 foot up, 2 feet out. So it's basically almost a 45 degree.
Rich, if I can touch on real quick. Paul Janik hires a company, they're called Marcone Forensics Engineering. They are an actual forensics engineer. They come out and they do the total property assessment. They offer some of the findings that QTC and the previous board had done and themselves. They are a certified expert in litigation in these matters, and they've gone through this entire community when the water levels were low. They've got photographed evidence, they've got measurements, they've done a really great job in the 558 issue that they sent to Pulte.
Yeah, and we said at the last meeting that the litigation notice, the Chapter 558 notice that was filed by Pulte and the Marcon forensics report that Adam just addressed, each of you is entitled to see that or ask for copies of that. It's pretty thick, but if you're very interested in seeing all of that, talk to Adam. And I can tell you, well beyond what's in the Marcon forensics report, you'll see that he has listed probably 12, maybe 12 different exhibits and third-party consultant reports that, as Adam said, we had done as a QTC or as QCA. We're still having some of those done right now on the lake, and those are all referenced in there. So I mean, we have probably a stack like this of photos, videos, expert reports, and that is why Paul Janik feels we do have a very, very solid and substantial claim here.
Yeah, one of the last things we want to do before is to also do the sidewalk. So Joe and I are going to go by and take a look at every sidewalk and gutter, every crack. We're going to put that together also let me tell you, we've done extensive, there's a list, like she said, of data that it'll be interesting. I think we're in a good position, as Bob and Janik have noticed.
Just while you're on
First
that
of all, there
subject,
was Mike. Let me get my
how much are we
picture.
suing Pulte for?
Well, that's TBD.
Not explained?
They haven't put a sum against it yet. That's yet to be determined as they do their walkthrough. They just filed the lawsuit. The lawsuit did not have to have a sum amount.
Paul Janik advised against it. They
Yep.
wanted to get Pulte out here first so they could go over the scope together and see where Pulte wanted to go from there first before they slapped the dollar figure.
So they've not been served with a complaint?
It has been filed.
Yes.
But does the complaint have to, in the damage clause, set forth what you're claiming damages?
not in the process of the 550, it's not like a civil lawsuit or a jury. This is, the amount can be justified later on, and that's, that can be filed later on. Yes?
There were a judgment or a settlement of $10 or $20 million. Is it even collectible?
Is it collectible? I guess I'm not a lawyer. So
Well, these projects are usually set up in separate areas, so if whatever's here for assets, it's usually here. So if you go next door, they build it next door, you don't have anything to do with that. So it's not collectible.
Well, here's what it is. Right now, Pulte has a lot of construction going on down here. If an issue comes up and it makes it to the newspaper and they're saying they're not paying off, you can imagine what that would do to their other developments here. So,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an attorney, obviously, but there are a lot of construction laws in Florida that don't give the developer the free rein of just running and hiding and not having to pay anything. If it's ruled in favor for us and against them, the courts are going to issue a settlement. I mean, and it's collectible. There's no reason that it shouldn't.
and they do a bond too for every development. And I don't know if it's been turned over, but they could go, I'm sure, against other bonds. Yes? Any other questions?
Can Pulte decide that they want to come back in here and fix the problems?
I don't think.
Once it reaches this
Maybe in the
point,
settlement. No.
that's unlikely because
It's not likely.
we've never given a certificate of satisfaction.
I don't think we would accept that to them because of what they've done in the
Okay.
past. They've covered up things. They haven't really addressed the issue. Yes?
When you determine how much you're going to seek, is that figure grossed up for all these studies that we're paying for?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Port cost, everything.
Got it.
Yes? Tony?
Chip, with the amount of information you have, and it looks like it's extensive, why can't we go after Collier County to put, this code violation? Why can't they carry the lawsuit for us? Why is it a civil matter? If it's not fit to code, why doesn't Collier County come in and put the screws to Pulte? Why do we have to do it with our, personal funds versus tax funds?
Well, I can speak on some of it. I can speak on, let's go to the riprap, for instance. The county and the district is dependent on the engineer hired by either the developer or the entity that has ownership of that. So, engineer comes in, views it, certifies it. He's a state certified engineer. He's certifying that this is done up the code. 9 times out of 10, the district is taking their word for it and moving on. And even if they do have a chance to come out and inspect, and in our case, it was a spot check from the shoreline and a walkthrough during the high water level mark of the quarry. We knew 2-3 months later, all of our issues just started coming to light, and that's when we called the county back out. Please get Pulte out here to make sure some of these issues are repaired before then you sign off on their certificate. That's where some of these repairs were done. That's when Tom came back out, threw some rock on top of some underlayment. District comes out again and says, okay, you threw some rock on it. Looks good, and that's it. I mean, that's where their responsibility begins and ends, because there's an outside party engineer certifying some of this. I can't speak on behalf of some of the other projects that took place, but I'm talking specifically the river.
But mistakes were made, and the county needs to recognize that. Either it's in specs or it isn't in specs, and if it isn't in specs, we pay the government to, go after them. We should.
Well, in the case of the riprap, there are actually two things. The county has codes, and there's also Southwest Florida Water Management District. And the designs that were submitted to the county are different than the designs that were approved by Southwest Florida Water Management District. So that's part of what we're up against, and we're part of the lawsuit. We have the problem. The guys that designed the northern end of and the eastern section of the riprap is the same engineer that's on our quarry CDD that's evaluated. That was kind of brought up in one of the HOA meetings. So we're fighting the guy that designed it and all. Now he's the one that's testing it, and so we've got kind of a conflict of interest there.
Why don't we sue Pulte County? We're suing Pulte.
We're suing
Calumet, where we're suing Pulte.
You ever tried suing government agency?
I don't know.
No,
I
don't.
think if you get cash, you're not going to get enough cash for an arm's length contract to come in and fix anything.
I don't know where the responsibilities lie, and I'll talk about the landscaping. The county makes you submit a landscaping architect, a plan. You're supposed to follow the plan. They don't care how the soil is. It's not in their, they think a developer's going to do right and put the right stuff in so it survives. They have no interest in making sure that the right kind of soil is put in, that they pull out all the quarry rocks. They just want to make sure that you've got X amount of hardwoods per square 100 feet, that you've got X amount of buffer separating you from the roadway for noise cancellation. Those are the types of things that they care about. I don't think they care at all about the soil condition.
They take it that the civil engineer that did it is the guy that's going to be responsible. They don't have a group of civil engineers approving everything. So, and that's why you sign off on it, and that's why it has to get certified. And the people that certified it, for most people that don't understand, we have an umbrella association that had Quarry CDD, and that is who basically is responsible for all this. And like I said, the engineer that designed it is now the engineer for the CDD. Yes?
Slightly different subject with regard to damage from the Tiki Bar project, with all the expansion. Because the Pulte is going to say we have nothing to do with this damage. The contractor who put in the sidewalks and the extra bocce court and the lamp post, that's all falling apart. And the paint job they did over it is falling apart. Are we going after them to get that taken care of?
Well, Lifestyle Building Group is one of the co-defendants in the lawsuit.
Yeah. They're the people that built it. They're in, yes, that is part of the matrix that we're listing the things that have to affect it.
No, but I'm not talking about.
You're talking about the new stuff?
The new stuff.
That's under it.
The lamp post is cracked and it's almost ready to come out of the ground. And by the bocce court, the sidewalk is all cracked, and all the painting in that concrete, they never embedded it in the concrete. They painted over it. It's wearing away.
I don't know, I have to go look at it. I know there's stress cracks, but I know that the stain, there was no guarantee on that stain that was put down. It was a project that we paid for to try to dress up the area, but there was no guarantee for that work. It was an existing job.
Yes.
Do you have the status for an update on the boat launch?
Well, I think the boat launch has actually found its way to the 558 issue. What they have found is that boat ramp is not even a permanent boat ramp. It was a boat ramp put in temporarily many, many years ago by Centex. I think J&M Boatlift or Coastal Engineering actually designed it, I think. Nobody knew it was temporary. I don't know anything about boat ramps in terms of what's supposed to be permanent, not permanent, but when we found that we had this area, Chip was able to get with a boat contractor, a dock contractor, and the original engineer. The engineer pointed out this is not a permanent boat ramp. This was a temporary design boat ramp. When Centex asked us to install it, they weren't even sure where they wanted to put the permanent boat ramp at that time. And then years and years went by, and then Pulte bought Centex, and then it just sat
Got
there.
overlooked. And yeah, it even says on the design plan itself, temporary boat ramp. It was meant to last 2 years before they decided on the permanent.
So it's in a lawsuit.
It's in the lawsuit.
Well, does that mean we have to wait for the boaters in this area? We have to wait
Well, we
for
had,
the lawsuit?
if we go with the existing design, we could have somebody come in and patch it. They gave us an estimate of about $30,000 to $40,000 to just make it up to what the original design was and fix it.
With a life of a short life.
With a short life of 2 to 3 years. And so now we're into this, to make it right, make it to where the guy said, I can design it to last 40 years, where you're using real concrete and it's done properly. It's up to 120.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not sensible. I mean, is there not anything prefab or something that we put in there?
He's looking at, that's one of the options that came up. He said he's doing something right now where they're using precast concrete slabs to bring in, and he would give us a better estimate on that after he's done this.
Is there money then allotted to make the temporary repair so it can be safely used, or?
Well, I think you guys are even struggling with who actually owns the boat ramp. We need to figure out the actual literal ownership of the boat ramp and who actually is charged with making those necessary repairs and the expenditures for those repairs. We just don't know. We don't know if it's us or the CBD, we just don't know.
Let me just tell you that if it was a bridge on the golf course to get golf carts across, it'll be fixed tomorrow morning, and then you're worried about who's going to get paid. And it's a boat ramp, so, you know, it can go on for months, whatever. A lot of people have a lot of money invested in boats.
Yeah,
For the
me
purpose of
included.
using it.
Me included. So, I don't have an answer for you, Tony, right now. Because there's not a lot of extra money sitting around right now to do the work.
Any other questions? Okay. Can I have a motion from the board to adjourn the meeting? Second. All those in favor? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.